Hey, and welcome to another episode of Geek Bytes podcast. I'm Ramon Mejia. Now, today's going to be a special episode. It is our 1 year anniversary, our Podiversary, if you will, of the podcast. And unfortunately, we had some issues with the previous recording. It didn't quite work out, and Edgar had to take off. So it's just going to be me running down the headlines for you. So this week, though, we have some great news stories, including stories about FBI, Apple, Congress, HoloLens, Google, Car's first accident. We're just going to read them off to you so you guys don't have to wait for it, and you can listen to what we have to say, or in this case, what I have to say. We're going to begin, of course, with our geek news. Now, our first story is getting Apple versus the FBI report to Congress. This week, Apple and the FBI presented their cases to maintaining the strength of encryption to Congress. 9to5Mac summarized the main points of each side during the 5 hours of testimony. First off, the FBI says, one, that the FBI asked whether it's reasonable whether Apple should be allowed to create an environment that cannot be penetrated by the government, even when it comes to armed search warrants. Essentially, they're saying Apple shouldn't be able to stop them from looking at anything they want to if they have a valid search warrant for it. That's kind of specious reasoning to me, but that's the FBI's first point. The second point is that if we allow corporations to make these decisions for us, it comes at a cost to society. So FBI's point number 2, cost to society. Point number 3, ancient laws are still valid today. Part of Apple's original argument was that the All Writs Act was very old and it shouldn't apply. The FBI counterpoint is the fact that, the Constitution is older. It's still a pretty good piece of paper, too. FBI point number 4, they don't have any other way of getting the data. Not really true in my opinion, but hey, that's Apple's point number 4. Point number 5 from the FBI, Apple hasn't suggested a different option. Okay, Apple side. Once this is written, it cannot be unwritten. Essentially, once this code is done, anybody can use it. It's out there in the world, and they can't take it back. Point number 2, it would not just affect the old iPhones. It would actually affect current iPhones and future iPhones because they're actually removing an entire layer of security. All iPhones are going to be vulnerable if the software is created for the FBI. Point number 3 from Apple, the tool could fall into the wrong hands. Again, once this information is out there, once this code is put together and released into the world, we don't know who's going to get it. Could be bad guys, could be good guys, could be people we don't really want to. Criminals, whoever. We don't know, and it's possible. Point number 4 from Apple, we all have things we want to hide, and it's legitimate. Apple, the FBI originally says that only criminals and terrorists and people with things to hide should fear them using this kind of software, and that's just not true. From Apple's point of view, they pointed out very, very succinctly that smartphones are becoming more and more like our wallets, our digital versions of wallets. They literally have access to our bank accounts, to our financial records, but they also have access to personal document information, things like Dropbox, things like your photos, your email records, your Facebook posts. And even from an industrial standpoint, they have, proprietary information from companies on their phones. And so all those things are legitimate reasons that you want to keep these things private. And Apple saying that the government should not have essentially a way of getting into those things without your consent. Point number 5 from Apple, repressive regimes will want this too. Once the U.S. government has been given access to a master key, all of the governments around the world will demand the same thing. So you think of all those governments around the world that we consider oppressive or fascist or whatever words you want to use, and they're going to demand of Apple the exact same thing that the United States government is asking for. So you have to take that in consideration because essentially the U.S. is setting a precedent because Apple is a U.S.-based company. Point number 6. The FBI doesn't really need Apple's help. The NSA is fully capable of doing this if they choose to cooperate, and Apple kind of wins it out. Point number 7, Apple's last point. This would breach the company's First and Fifth Amendment rights. Apple has already pointed out that the Supreme Court has said that computer code is protected as free speech. So that would violate their First Amendment right if they're compelled to write code for the government against their will. The Fifth Amendment right would protect Apple from coercion. And of course, since in the United States, corporations are seen as people, the Fifth and First Amendment would actually apply to them directly. And that's going to be it for that particular portion. Our next story is going to be New York judge rules against the FBI. I know this is kind of related. A magistrate judge in the U.S. Court of Eastern District of New York has ruled on Monday that the All Writs Act cannot be used to justify a government request to compel Apple to assist in accessing data on an iPhone running iOS 7. Now, this is not the same case as the San Bernardino one. This is in New York, but it sort of applies the same principles. The FBI is using the same justification, the All Writs Act. And in this case, Apple won. So good for them. Microsoft has started to take orders for their HoloLens. This Monday, they began taking orders for their $3,000, yes, that's right, $3,000 HoloLens Development Edition. It launches March the 30th in the US and Canada to approved developers. It comes with a charger, a Bluetooth 4.1 controller, carrying case, microfiber cloth, and replacement nose pieces. It also comes with a few games and software pieces for the developers to play with and to create their own software from. This is pretty cool, aside from the fact that you have to be approved as a developer and apply for the privilege of paying Microsoft $3,000. The next one is going to be Meta Augmented Reality pre-orders. This is kind of a knockoff version of the Microsoft HoloLens, or I should say alternative edition. They've actually started taking their pre-orders for the Meta 2 as well. Augmented reality headset. The Meta 2 offers 88 degrees field of view, which is about 3 times what the HoloLens does, and it has a better display and a much better price point. They're charging $949 for their augmented reality headset instead of what Microsoft is charging, which is $3,000. Now, for those of you who don't know, augmented reality is the process of taking normal reality, like you look around you or you look through a camera, and overlaying it with cartoons, special effects, video game stuff. We'll post a video up in the show notes for you so you can see a comparison for it. But that's the difference between that. Virtual reality actually replaces everything you see around you with a headset on your head that you can't see through, and everything around you is virtual or artificial. So those are the difference between the two. Next story, Google Car's first accident. Google Car is an automated car service that Google is currently testing out on real live roads in the United States. This is a car without a driver. There is a controller in the backseat usually, or a person in the passenger side to take control in emergencies, who is just kind of monitoring the car. For the most part, Google's car is driving itself. Now, in this particular case, reported by economist writer Mark Harris, one of Google's self-driving Lexuses had a low-speed collision with a bus in Mountain View, California. Now, this is not the first time the car has got an accident, but all of the times, I think there are about 15, it was human drivers in other vehicles who were the cause. This is the very first time that Google is saying that it might be their car's fault because of software stuff. The story goes, the car was moving at 2 miles per hour from the right turn lane to the center lane in order to go around some sandbags in the road. It made contact with the side of a bus, which is traveling at 15 miles per hour, and did not slow down while the Google car was trying to change lanes. The damage, the Google's car damaged their left front fender, left front wheel, and one driver's side sensor. There were no injuries. This was a very low-speed collision. And according to the rest of the story, the driver of the bus didn't think the car was going fast enough to change lanes. And the car apparently, who is, again, controlled by a computer, thought that the driver of the bus was going to slow down to let it go into the next lane. So there was just a conflict. And these things are going to happen even once this rolls out finally for like real consumers. There are going to be these car accidents. But if they're all like this, if they're at 2 miles per hour and they're non-fatal, I'm okay with that. I think overall, once we get automated cars on the road, we're going to see a major drop in fatal collisions and collisions in general. When you take humans out of the equation, I think, the roads are going to be a lot safer. Next story, Facebook VP jailed in Brazil. Another government. This week, Brazil's federal police arrested Facebook's vice president for Latin America, Diego Dezian, while he was on his way to work in Sao Paulo. Facebook is accused of disobeying a court order to assist investigators in a drug case involving a WhatsApp user. WhatsApp says it has cooperated to the full extent of our ability, and it can't give law enforcement information that it does not have. The next day, Judge Rui Pinheiro ordered the VP released, calling his imprisonment an extreme and disproportionate measure and unlawful coercion. If you don't know, WhatsApp is a messaging app. The same way you would text somebody, only it's sent over the internet, and that information is encrypted, which means that government agencies, even the WhatsApp creators of the app, cannot peek into your message. They can't see what you're doing. It's completely encrypted, which means other people can't see it. And the government in this instance is looking at a criminal, or someone they suspect is a criminal, and they want access to the information that they've been texting, some other person. But because it's encrypted, the company that owns it, WhatsApp, does not have that information to give the police. And the police did not like this. And so they're actually going after the owners of WhatsApp, like the corporate owners. Facebook bought WhatsApp a couple of years ago, and they jailed the VP for a little while. Even though he was released, I think it sets a bad precedent for Brazil, saying that they're more interested in trying to force companies to cooperate with their investigations than actually getting information. So it's kind of a sad view of public privacy in the country. Next story, the Phantom 4 is released. The Phantom 4 is a quadcopter, or a drone as some people are calling them, and DJI introduced its latest drone, the Phantom 4, that can see and avoid obstacles on its own. It has 4 cameras, 2 ultrasonic sensors, plus flight software. It has a 4K main camera with a new lens called ActiveTrack that automatically track objects in its camera. It has a sports mode that boosts the drone speed from 35 to 65 miles per hour, so it's a big speed increase. And it has a bigger battery that allows up to 28 minutes of power on a single charge. The Phantom is available right now on DJI.com and Apple.com for $1,399, and it's going to be available worldwide March 15th. This is a super high-end drone, not for the average consumer, at almost $1,400 United States currency. Beautiful quadcopter though. It has a super high res camera, and it has a really interesting point where you have a tablet, and when you're looking at your tablet, you're controlling the quadcopter, and you can actually just circle someone who's being filmed by the camera, and the quadcopter will automatically rise up and track that person as they're moving around. It's really cool technology. I encourage you to take a look on the show notes for the link to the video for the quadcopter for the Phantom 4. The things they show you are really cutting edge, and they're beautiful. And if you're a fan of this kind of stuff, this is definitely something you'll want to check out. Next story is going to be Amazon adds the Tap and the Echo Dot for $130 and $90 respectively. The Echo has received more than 33,000 reviews on Amazon and an nearly 5-star rating in late 2014, and it was one of the best-selling items, going for more than $100 on Amazon. Amazon is now introducing 2 members of the Echo family that have slightly different uses. The Amazon Tap, which is the 131, is a portable version of Amazon Echo. The Amazon Dot is a tiny hockey puck-sized version that includes a built-in line connector hookup to any speaker of your choice. Now, if you don't know, Amazon Echo is, if you've ever used Siri on your Apple phone, where you press the button and you hear a voice and you can talk to it and it answers questions for you, this is a larger version of that. It's made by Amazon. It's a speaker. It looks like a tubular speaker that you have lying around the house. You connect it to your internet, and it has microphones that are always on. And you essentially say, "Hey, Echo," and you tell it to do stuff. Things like adding items to your grocery list, or playing music, like saying, Echo, play me The Last Dance. And it'll automatically start playing things like that, or it'll start videos, things of that nature. But its big selling feature is that the microphones are always on, and it does a very good job of picking up your voice and not just that outside noise. So it kind of becomes a personal home assistant for a lot of people, especially once you start connecting it to the Internet of Things in your home. Like, you could tell it to turn on certain lights in your house. Like, you could say, Echo, turn on the living room lights. Echo, set the alarm. Echo, change my thermostat, if you have your home connected that way, where all those things are connected to your network. And what the Amazon Tap does is a portable version of that, something you can take with you. The original Amazon Echo is kind of set, once you hook it up, it stays in one place, whether it's your living room or your kitchen or wherever. It's meant to be in one place only. So the Amazon Tap is a portable version of that. Now, the Amazon Dot is the $90 version, and what it does, it kind of takes the computer components of that, the part that's listening to the microphones, and it connects it to any high quality speaker you want to. So a lot of audiophiles are going to love this. People who love music, who love really good high quality music and have those really expensive speaker systems, well, now they can have the same features, and they can connect it to their audio system, so they can tell their high-end audio system to play their music for them, and it works for them, and it's not quite as expensive as the other products, so good for them. Now, our next story is going to be Disney Infinity Next. Disney released a video this week outlining their plans for the upcoming expansion of Disney Infinity 3.0. Disney plans to release 4 new playsets that are compatible with Disney Infinity 3.0 in 2016, including Zootopia, The Jungle Book, and there are 2 other surprise ones. They've also introduced 3 new characters, Black Panther, Ant-Man, and Vision. They're also introducing 4-player local co-op gameplay called Disney Infinity Marvel Battlegrounds. The system will also support all the Disney 2.0 characters. So if you're into this kind of thing, it's really beautiful. It's fun to play with your kids. Kids kind of love it. They're little figures that you put onto a little tablet or a little station, and you can play with them as game characters on your television screen. It's fun for a lot of people. It combines collectibles with video games, and it works, and it's really fun for a lot of folks. So if you're into this kind of stuff, this is great news for you. Next story. This one is kind of exciting for me personally. This is the kind of game I'm interested in. It's called No Skies Land, and it's finally got a release date. This game has been about 3 years in the making. It's one of the most ambitious video game products that I've seen in a long time. It's going to come out on the PS4 and PCs on June 21st, 2016. Now, the scope of this game is that you're an explorer in your galaxy. You're in a little dinky little spaceship initially, and your main goal is to get to the very center of the galaxy. Now, here's the twist for this game. There are over 16, not quadrillion, quintillion planets to explore and to gather resources from. That's 16, which a bunch of zeros after it. That's more than millions, more than billions, more than trillions planets. That's how many zeros are. So that's a lot of planets to explore. They all have their own unique life forms, unique environments, unique resources to gather or to build on. And it actually incorporates other players online. But the universe is so expansive that the developers say it's highly unlikely that you're ever going to see anyone else in the same universe. And each planet that you come to is actually procedurally generated. That means that it's not made until you get there. And that every time you play the game new, fresh, those planets are going to be different every single time. So all the creatures, all the landscapes are going to be different. So this is really exciting for a lot of people just based upon its large scope. Next story, entertainment stuff. Fuller House gets a second season order. This is kind of a fun story. If you watch the show, Variety reported that Netflix has ordered a second season for the Netflix original series Fuller House. The show has been only available for a little over 2 weeks, but it seems it has been proved popular enough to get the green light for a second season. So this is the reboot of the older show Full House. It's on Netflix exclusively, and it's created by Netflix as a Netflix original show, and it's really pretty good, I gotta say. We were going to talk about it in our discussion section, but because it's just me, we won't. So I'll tell you now, I love the show. It's really beautiful. It's really interesting. It's totally family friendly. Encourage you to go watch it. It's safe for parents and kids, but it's also entertaining enough for both parents and kids. It's one of those rare shows that it's safe to watch with even tiny kids. You don't have to worry about adult content or adult jokes necessarily. It still holds that same kind of Full House feel, but essentially the girls have grown up and they're the main characters, and they all have kids of their own. So it's fun. Go watch it on Netflix. Next entertainment story: J.K. Rowling has confirmed Harry Potter spinoff, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, will be a trilogy. She actually confirmed this on Twitter. She's actually making her screenwriting debut with the film, and I'm happy to say that this is going to be a trilogy. So the first film comes out this year, I believe, and it's going to be a trilogy, and I'm happy to see it. Happy to see more Harry Potter in the world. And that's it for Geek News, folks. We have a few trailers of the week. I'm just going to talk about them real briefly, but we're going to move on to our trailers of the week section.
Trailers of the week.
Okay, every week we bring you the best trailers that came out this week, and we begin with Ghostbusters. With paranormal activity on the rise, a Columbia University academic her ghost-chasing friend, the friend's business partner, and an MTA employee join forces to bust ghosts and save New York in theaters July 15, 2016. And again, we're not playing the trailers free anymore. We have an entirely new video section on our YouTube page and our Facebook that shows you the full trailers, including music, sound, and it's a lot more efficient for us. I love the trailer. I'm really excited for this to come out. I think all the ladies in this movie are completely hilarious, even just on the trailer form. I'm a little iffy on the special effects for the ghost, but that's a small qualifier. I think it's going to be really funny, and I think it's going to be a big thing. Next trailer that I saw this week, Finding Dory. This is the sequel to Finding Nemo. It finally has a trailer. It's been too many years in the making, personally. And you can join Dory on her search for her family on June 17th, 2016. Beautiful trailer. Beautiful artwork. It's just as nice looking as the original Finding Nemo. Better, obviously, since it's been a few years. I'm just surprised that it's taken this long for a sequel to come out. That was a super popular movie, Finding Nemo. And if it wasn't Ellen DeGeneres kind of pushing and pushing and pushing, I don't think there would have been a sequel. But I'm glad that there is. Next one, Kill Command. Set in the near future, technology-reliant society that pits man against killing machines. In theaters, May 13th, 2016. This looked really, it was surprised. I hadn't seen it before. I just happened to pop in the trailer, and it was amazing. They're giving artificial intelligent robots guns. Not a great idea. If you haven't learned from the Terminator franchise, I don't know what to say, but it doesn't look like it ended well for the humans in the trailer. From the trailer that I've seen, the premise is that there's a small island where they're doing military testing with robots. And a Marine squad has been sent in to kind of see what's happening with the test because it's gone all quiet. And it turns out that the robots had become artificially intelligent and they're armed and they start killing the Marines. But there's this one girl with these weird robot eyes that I think has been implanted with robotics that the robots kind of see as, oh, this is one of the people we've been programmed to obey. And there was a conflict between her commands and the robot leader who's become self-aware, giving the orders to kill all humans kind of thing. And of course, explosions, guns ensue. This is definitely an action film. If you love the idea of a robot uprising and how we fight against it and the great special effects in the movie, this is definitely the movie for you, which just means it's a movie for me. And our last trailer of the week is called The Man Who Knew Infinity. I love this trailer just because of the math. Here's the premise. Growing up poor in Madras, India, this Indian fellow, I'm not going to attempt to say his name, earns admittance to Cambridge University during World War I, where he becomes a professor and pioneered mathematical theories with the guidance of Professor G.H. Hardy. In theaters, September 17, 2015. Loved it because it's almost sort of it's one part underdog story, one part math story, and I love both aspects of it. I'm definitely a math and science guy personally. This appeals to me in a lot of different ways because it's the brown Indian guy fighting against preconceived notions about what it means to be a mathematician and an academic during World War I. So there's a lot of colonial issues with England, a lot of racial, ethnic racial issues that you see in the trailer. It looks super interesting to me. It's also a period piece. A lot of great actors. The main character, you can actually see him doing some great acting work in the HBO original series Newsroom, where he plays this rookie news investigator, along with a lot of other great cast of characters. So watching this movie, I'm planning to watch it on September 17th, 2015. And you know what, folks? That's going to be it for us. That's our trailer week section. Again, we normally do a discussion section, but we had some earlier issues, so this is like a re-recording for us. We had bad audio in the first site, and Edgar had to leave, so that's going to be it. You can check out the shows that I've been watching in our show notes. They include The Expanse, Second Chance, Love, Fuller House, and 11/22/63. I loved them all for different reasons. The Expanse, great sci-fi show. Second Chance, great sci-fi show. Love, messy love story on Netflix as an original series. We talked about Fuller House. 11/22/63 is it's a great show on Hulu. It has James Franco, J.J. Abrams, and Stephen King are the writers of it. It's based on a Stephen King book, so you're going to get some time travel plus some really creepy stuff that happens. But if you're into that, as a time travel show, it's on Hulu. You can watch it now. It's still ongoing. I think they have 3 episodes currently, but it's interesting enough to check out for most people. But that's going to be it for us. Thank you very much for listening to me talk for the last half an hour, folks. I know it's not quite as interesting as when me and Edgar are here, but again, we had some tech issues. If you love the podcast, if you enjoyed listening to me talk for a little while, and you want to throw us some support, please go on iTunes, subscribe to us, give us a good review so that other people can find us, and bumps us up on the rankings on iTunes or whatever podcasting app you're using. Also, if you want to support us other ways, financially or just word of mouth or whatever you want to, you can check out all the ways you do so at geekbytespodcast.com/support. We have a ton of options for you if you want to support us and you love the podcast. So thank you very much for listening, folks. I'm Ramon Mejia, and we always encourage you folks to be enthusiastic and now go geek out about something, folks.